we are back with another episode of JR Takes. I guess you could call this the Season 5 premiere.
Season 5?
Because we usually...
Shit.
Yeah, usually the end of our seasons are just whenever the football season ends. Because we kind of take like a break in between. But Ryan just had a baby back in February. So Ryan, congratulations.
Thank you. She's super cute. Future guest on the podcast, I'm sure.
Yeah.
She's going to have a lot to say when she can talk.
Yeah, we'll get a high chair.
Actually, it would be hilarious.
Yeah, we'll get a high chair, and then we'll have her sit there, and you can sit right in the high chair.
Perfect.
No, but yeah, I don't know if it kind of looks like it right now, but we did do a little bit of a relocation. If you guys are wondering why the background looks a little different, we are just in a different room in our house. It's just literally the room right
Made
over.
some rearrangements, but we're back with the vengeance now, and we are beginning our repeat quest as Super Bowl champions.
Yeah, and it starts with JSN being the highest paid receiver in football. Which, I gotta say, happy they got the deal done early, because John is like the king of getting deals done early, I feel like.
I'm really glad they got out in front of the Puka contract. Granted, he keeps biting women and saying things about the Jews, so I don't know what's in store for Puka contractually, but just based on his play, there's an argument that he's going to get paid more than than JSN. So I'm glad they kind of set the market, so now all these other receivers that get contracts are just going to have to clear that.
Yeah, I kind of hope they pay him, and I kind of hope he keeps biting people, and then it just...
That'd be great for us.
Turns into a terrible contract, because...
Brandon Ayuk Part 2, basically.
Yeah, or better yet, Antonio Brown Part 2, because, I mean, this guy, it just seems like he just has gone like this in
terms of, like, his brain?
Yes.
Yeah, because I just thought he was, like, a normal guy, like, a year ago.
His play on the field has been going like this. I will admit that, but that's all the reason why I want him to do what I said a couple minutes ago, which is keep biting people and get in trouble. So you're not playing for the Rams anymore, because he's a constant pain in our ass every year.
Yeah, absolutely. And sticking with the receiver position, we were able to re-sign Shaheed to about a $17 million a year deal, which I was shocked we pulled that off, honestly, because I kind of thought he was a goner, just based on the rumors I was hearing around the league. And, receiver's a very needy position for most teams. But to keep him at like a relatively good deal for, I think it was 3 years. It's hard to remember. It's been a few weeks, but he's the best returner in the league, which that's a big reason why the Seahawks even made it to the Super Bowl. And on top of that, I think him being with our team the whole offseason is going to help a lot with getting him involved on offense.
Totally. And also, I kind of thought this was an underrated take, because it turned out, well, relatively true, because we re-signed him, but Brock from Brock and Salt kept saying, like, oh, keep an eye on Shaheed, because he's been elsewhere and experienced. He was on the Saints for us, and now he goes to our team, wins the Super Bowl. Probably doesn't want to leave something like that behind, because he knows what it's like on the other side of things as far as being in a Saints organization that hasn't been good for a while and hasn't figured out quarterback for a while, and we just kind of seem to have things figured out here in Seattle, compared to most other franchises.
That perspective kind of makes sense too, because you look at some of the guys we lost, most notably Ken Walker, Super Bowl MVP, but him, Kobe Bryant, a handful of other guys got signed by other teams. Tariq Woolen was on the
all
Eagles
the guys
now.
that we drafted, essentially.
Yeah, so they were all homegrown guys that have known nothing else beyond Seattle. And, a lot of guys find out the grass is not always greener, but, they're all looking to get paid. Ken Walker, I think, got like $15 million a year and like 40-ish guaranteed. So I'm happy for him. He absolutely deserves that money. Running back is a position where any snap could be your last, pretty much. I wanted to keep him, but it's kind of unfortunate. In a way, I feel like Charbonnet getting injured and forcing us to feed Ken Walker during the playoffs probably made him cost like $7 million more than he would have otherwise. So yeah, it is what it is. But
Yeah, that's just the way it goes, though. I mean, Ken Walker was good, but he had issues staying on the field healthy, and also I did hear him say something about like it feels good to be wanted or something like that, and I'm just like, dude, come on, man.
that's what I mean about the grass is always greener thing. Like I feel like these young guys, they're looking for that second contract, and when you've been drafted by an organization and been there for 4 years or whatever, you start thinking like, oh man, you just start noticing the downsides of being there and not really looking at just the perspective of how good it is compared to the rest of the league. Granted, he went to the Chiefs, which is another top tier organization, but yeah, at the end of the day, we have gotten success at running back by drafting, and I think we're going to continue to go down that path. So I'm not heartbroken over it, but he was the best back we've had since Chris Carson, I would say, in terms of production.
Yeah, I would be inclined to agree with you. God, so what do we got now? Like a month until the draft, basically?
Yeah, I think if it's not exactly a month, it's a hair less than a month, because I think it's 4 weeks from last Thursday, unless I'm mistaken. But we're right up on the edge of that. We missed the Combine. Senior Bowl was the week of the Super Bowl. So that's kind of the effect of getting to and winning the Super Bowl, is you haven't been focused on the rookies coming in because you're focused on the now. But yeah, the Seahawks got, I believe, first, second, third, and then like 6th or 7th in this draft. So they only have 4 picks. You got to think Schneider's probably going to trade back for more picks, but I don't know. What have you gotten a feel for this draft at all yet, for these guys coming in?
Not really, just because once the draft simulator thing started popping up, I started doing that, and I mean, you can only do that so many times until that we get closer to draft day, I suppose. But I had some fun with that. Honestly, been super distracted by the baseball season that just started and the World Baseball Classic. That was pretty fun to watch. But yeah, I will probably be diving deeper into the draft process now that we're doing podcasts again, because those mock drafts are really fun, and I love just controlling all the different teams, or like just different scenarios where you're like, okay, I'm only going to control AFC teams or whatever, something like that. It's just really fun to learn all the players, and just makes you overall more familiar with everyone in the league, because this is what, our 5th year doing this now, so
which is crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's why we know so many players around the league now, is since we've been doing this for 4 years. We've done 4 rounds of mock drafts now, so it's like hundreds of players across the league,
right?
And it is funny to like see a name that you kept mocking to the Seahawks in like the 3rd round or whatever, end up on a team like the Jaguars, and they're like, hey, that guy's doing pretty good. And like, Michael Wilson, for example, 2-3 years ago, I remember liking him a lot in like the mid rounds of the draft. And he kind of had a breakout year for the Cardinals with Jacoby throwing him the ball last year. So it's just cool, not only for the Seahawks perspective, but just as a football fan to kind of get a feel for these guys before they even make it to the league. But what I've been hearing a lot of kind of mixed things about this draft. Like, I've heard some people say it's a bad draft. I've heard people say it's really underrated, and kind of everything in between. One thing that I think is kind of a certainty is this is not a fantastic quarterback draft. And it's funny because I feel like every class of quarterbacks, like 2 years out, people are like, oh, this is going to be the best quarterback class in 10 years. And then they get to their junior, senior season and suck. And then now they're like, oh, never mind. This isn't the year to want a quarterback. Like, it's just kind of funny. I feel like that keeps happening.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not that interested in any of the quarterbacks besides Mendoza. Ty Simpson, not interested in him at all. I just don't think he has enough starts under his college resume to translate to be a good football player. I mean, That's like the biggest red flag, in my opinion,
Well,
is a lack of experience at the college level and then just going into the NFL. Like,
I feel like after, what the fuck was the guy's name?
Anthony Richardson.
Well, I
Or
wasn't
Trey
even
Lance.
Trey Lance, yeah. So I'll throw Richardson in there as well. So you got Richardson, Trey Lance, and 9 JJ McCarthy guys that barely played in college. That is a very bad track record of translating to the NFL, and the people will be like, oh, Josh Allen was really raw coming out. And it's like, yeah, but he played a shitload of football poorly for Wyoming, and you could see the talent. It's different than just playing like 13, 14, 15 college games and having a big arm,
Yeah.
Like I'm kind of just done with that type of prospect as a quarterback. But from the Seahawks perspective, I think that I would be shocked if they draft a quarterback really in the next couple of seasons, because not only do you have Darnold locked down for 2 more years, but you drafted Jalen Milroe relatively high last year. So I would foresee, as long as Darnold keeps playing the way he is, that he's probably going to be a long-term franchise guy. And then Milroe, maybe he kind of turns into a Malik Willis for us, where we move him for something years down the line just based off the talent. I don't know.
I'd be pretty disgusted if we drafted a quarterback.
Me too.
Draft.
Especially with
with the needs we have.
Yeah.
Like, that wouldn't make any sense.
I can always go for another guard. I mean, look what happened with Gray Zabel. I will say Bradford, I think we can live with him as a long-term right guard. Like, you don't love it, but
I don't know. He did. We weren't calling his name out like the second half of the season and pretty much during the entire playoff run.
also he's just such a massive athletic human being. You're like, at some point you gotta, figure it out a little bit more. Because if he does, like, he could be a top right guard. It's just he makes so many errors. And that's something that feels like it could be worked on with time. But, then center, I like Olu, and then, I can't even think of his name. Sundell. Both those guys did pretty well for us. Sundell made a big difference in the pass protecting game. But I kind of feel like the offensive line is set. We're set at quarterback. I think Kupp is coming back.
Is DeMarcus Lawrence coming back?
I haven't heard anything definitive, but there's been rumors that he's got one more year in
It'd be
him.
so dumb if he retires.
Yeah, especially because he was our best edge player last year.
I know.
Like Uchenna, Maffe's gone now too. Forgot to mention him. And then, Derek Hall is looking like he's going to get a second contract with us soon too. But, DeMarcus Lawrence just turned back the clock and looked like he was 25 years old again for us. So I think he's got one more year left. But edge is definitely a position group you could see us going after. And this is a pretty good edge class from what I have seen and read so far. But I
Edge
think
or corner, I think, is going to be our first pick.
I was going to say, despite our defense being the best last year, I think that is the side of the ball I'd rather see us I would be totally down, for example, with trading from pick 32 to 40 or something into the second round and getting a few mid-round picks, because I think we need more depth in the secondary in general, losing 2 starters back there. And then I think the defensive line, specifically edge group, needs some depth. But when I think about our offense, besides the obvious hole of running back, which, you could even get a guy in the 7th round and have him turn out, i.e. Chris Carson.
Yeah.
I feel like we just need to keep loading up on that side of the ball, because especially when it comes to edge rushers, look at how much Boye Mafe got paid. He got $20 million a year for being like a rotational guy for us.
Yeah, but that's the Bengals doing business.
True.
Like that, all Seahawks fans know the malpractice behind that contract when we saw it, and the Bengals name was
I couldn't
attached to
believe
it.
my eyes, honestly. I kept reading Boye Mafe is a name that's going to get more money than you think. I'm like, yeah, okay, but holy shit, that's what we used to pay quarterbacks.
He was my number one player I wanted to bring back of all of our players that left in free agency, and once I saw the contract he signed, I was like, oh yeah, no.
Yeah, you
good for you, man.
It's
like,
really easy to understand why players leave when they get that kind of money, because it's like, yeah, who's gonna turn down $20 million a year at like 27 years old just to stay home?
Boye Mafe was not a game wrecker. He was just a good player.
Yeah.
Like,
a solid rotational edge guy. And I feel like he had kind of hit his ceiling too. It's not like he was a young draft pick. I think he was 24 or 25 when we drafted him 4 years ago.
yeah.
So, yeah, it's probably as good as he's going to get. But, yeah, I would say edge and corner, probably the biggest positions of need in this draft. And I think there's plenty of guys who will be where we have picks that can help fill that void.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, totally. Yeah, so I guess we've got the draft coming up. We pretty much free agencies kind of come and gone.
First wave, yeah.
Yeah.
I guess we never talked about the Crosby thing, where the Ravens traded and then untraded for him.
Yeah, that was some fantasy football type shit going on.
Yeah, it's like people voted against it or something. But from what I am hearing, it's based off of a medical situation that they became aware of.
Yeah, but my understanding, that is true, but they basically, the GM, I forget his name, for the Ravens.
I can't remember either.
But he more or less saw the Trey Hendrickson availability and the amount that they could get him for, and they wanted to sign him to that deal, which would be cheaper than Max Crosby, and they would get to keep their draft picks. And so they more or less were like, let's just fail him on the physical, because they can do that. That's subjective.
Yeah.
But that's a bunch of bullshit anyway, because they're saying, oh, we're worried he's not going to be able to play, even though that's just basically an excuse. Like, he's not injured. So they can just say that, and that's kind of a gray area because, again, subjectivity is not.
Well, it's interesting, too, because if that suddenly makes the price tag for Crosby, like, substantially lower, if they would still consider moving him, like, I don't know, if you could trade, like, a second-round pick for him, I'd consider it, but
the Raiders aren't trading.
I don't think
it's just not
going
to happen.
But yeah, what else happened? I don't know what the hell the Dolphins are doing. They signed Malik Willis to like a 40-something million a year contract, and then they like release all their players and trade their best receiver in Waddle, and Tyreek Hill is as good as gone. So I'm like, okay, you're rebuilding, but you just like gave massive money to kind of a Matt Flynn type of run quarterback. It's same team too, even coming from the Packers. It just doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know what the hell they're doing there. Tua evidently is going to be the starter for the Falcons, at least to start the year.
I know, it's kind of interesting they signed a left-handed quarterback, so now they have two. So now that at least makes the blueprint of their team make a little bit more sense.
Yeah, I just feel like the Falcons were in a situation like 3 years ago where they needed a quarterback, and they were like, all right, let's give Kirk Cousins $1 billion. Let's trade all our picks to get Michael Penix. And now here they are, like, Cousins got the money, barely played for them. Penix barely played for them, injured, and now they have Tua. Like, what the fuck, guys? What happened there?
They're the Falcons. So that's what happened. And they're always going to make dumbass decisions like that. That's just the way they're ran, because Arthur Blank puts himself in the Hall of Fame and then goes and stands on the sidelines when they're up by a field goal, and then they lose the game.
Yeah. And then it sounds like the Cardinals, so Kyler Murray is gone. He is now on the Vikings, potentially replacing 9, and the Cardinals are going to roll with Jacoby for one more year, potentially. I feel like they're going to draft a rookie, but
I don't know. I
think
say roll with Jacoby for the next 5 years.
5?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, if he keeps feeding Michael Wilson the way he was, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, it's really weird. I feel like there was another team like this or player. I just can't think of it because I don't feel like it's the first time I've seen this with Jacoby, but they were like playing so good last year. At least the offense was, but they just never won. It was really weird.
It was funny too because like Jonathan Gannon was the Eagles' defensive coordinator when they almost won the Super Bowl. He's a defensive guy, and then they just have one of the worst defenses in the entire league, but a good offense. Like, how did that happen?
Yeah, I don't know. The Cardinals are weird, but their offense was fun to watch, and it's kind of fun having their players on fantasy.
It's weird that like Michael Wilson is doing substantially better than Marvin Harrison Jr. because he was being hyped up so much 3 years ago.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison has been a huge disappointment.
He has
Mainly because of his name. Like, his dad was so good, and it sucks.
It's, there's way more cases of a really good player's son being bad than them ever being as good as their dad was. Because,
Yeah.
I mean, like, the way I think about it is, like, the first person in that family gets there from, like, hard work, and then the second guy a lot of times gets there just because of their last name.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that black and white, but it kind of works out that way a lot, where it's like they'll be a good player, but they just don't have the juice that their dad had or whatever.
Yeah.
And then there's cases like, I think of like Chris Matthews and, Chris Long. I think his dad played in the NFL and he was a really good player. So there's exceptions to that, but yeah, lots of quarterback movement around the league this off season, and it seems like I'm not sure if the Chiefs plan on rolling out because they signed Justin Fields, didn't they?
They traded for him.
That's right, they trade. Wow, that's weird. But they might have to start him to start the league or to start the year. So I really hope the Seahawks play the Chiefs early in the season.
Oh, that would be great.
Because I'd way rather play against Justin Fields than fucking Mahomes.
Yeah.
ACL or no ACL.
I don't know. I would kind of like to play Mahomes with our defense.
It has been a long time. I mean, what?
Like, I
2022?
want that challenge because, like, they haven't been good in a while. We're the top dog in the league now. Like,
And
I would like to go against them.
The 2 times the Seahawks have won the Super Bowl, like, they were objectively the best team in the league both of those years.
Yeah.
But they played dog shit quarterbacks both of those seasons. Like, yeah, we had to play Stafford 3 times, but I mean, God, we played Max Brosmer. We played how many backup quarterbacks this last year? And then in 2013, I don't even remember who was it. Christian Ponder playing for the Vikings that we played against. Fitzmagic, like.
Yeah.
It helps definitely to play shitty backup quarterbacks, but it is more entertaining as a fan to like get a challenge. Like watching us go against Stafford that first game and hold them to 130 yards was awesome.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I guess that's kind of. I don't really have a whole lot else on the Hawks other than just getting ready for the draft. We can probably do a mock draft episode here.
Yeah, shit. I mean, with how quick the draft itself is coming up, we probably should jump on it, huh? So
yeah,
I'll have to get more familiar with these college players coming up very soon. So help with our dynasty fantasy drafts as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting pretty excited. We obviously got baseball back into the swing of things, and we won yesterday, so that was.
Are they
cool.
1-1 now?
1-1.
Okay.
Yeah,
I heard they lost the first game, but
yeah, who cares though? Like,
it's 162. So
yeah, we hit 4 home runs, so I'm like, as long as they're hitting good.
I just think it's crazy for our podcast. Like, we had off season in baseball last year. We're talking about the Mariners a lot. And then that bleeds all the way into football season, October. We're still talking about the Mariners. And then football season goes long because the Seahawks win the Super Bowl to where our first podcast back, we're already at baseball season.
I know.
It's just like, man, so is this what it feels like to have multiple good sports teams? It's pretty awesome.
And we're getting the Sonics back.
I was about to bring that up.
Wait,
yeah.
what?
Yeah, we're getting the Sonics back.
Is it like 28?
2028.
28? Yeah.
So
That's pretty soon.
Yeah, talk more about that.
To be honest, I don't know a whole lot about it other than they did a vote to expand, or they did a vote to like move forward with expansion across the league, and us and Vegas are the two teams.
That's kind of cool because the same thing happened with hockey, didn't it?
Yeah.
Like us and the Knights.
The Golden Knights and the Kraken. So yeah, that'll be just fun to be like, you guys want to go to a Sonics game?
Yeah.
And then just like do that.
Yeah, I don't really like the NBA is. I might even enjoy it less than baseball at this point.
Oh,
but the fact that we'll have a team will probably get me.
I
back
kind of
into it.
Like going to a bar and be like, oh, the Sonics. Like,
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've pretty much been checked out of the NBA for like almost 10 years.
Same.
Like I feel like more like sort of since the Sonics left, but
Well, it's weird too, because like here we are, 31 years old, and we turn on an NBA game. We're like, oh, LeBron's like still one of the best players in the league, and that's been the case since we were like 9. Like
yeah,
Jesus
2003.
Christ.
Yeah, so it's pretty crazy. But yeah, that'll be really fun. Just following basketball and being like, oh, I now have a reason to like, because I feel like I don't know any casual players in that league. Like,
Yeah.
I only know like the stars, and even then, I don't follow them. So
Yeah, I am exactly the same way, and I don't even really watch like the NCAA tournament that much either. Like I watched it when it was
I've kind
on,
of fallen
but
out of doing that too.
it's just hard to care as a sports fan if you don't have any skin in the game. And,
Yeah.
like, I didn't go to any college that would ever make it to that tournament, and then we don't have an NBA team. So what am I to root for here?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, so I guess that's really all I got for this episode. It's good to be back and doing this again. And,
Yeah, definitely.
We'll have
Just,
to do this again, like within the next week, and do a mock or something. We'll think of something to do. But
Yeah, we'll have that. We'll have Mariners. We got our softball league starting soon, so
Yeah.
we'll have that to talk about. Yeah, it's gonna
that'll be
be a
fun.
great off season, and hopefully these guys here give us more to talk about for baseball as we go through this spring and summer.
I'm sure they will. Yeah. But all right. Well, thanks for stopping by, guys, and we'll catch you later.
Yep. See you next time.